Greetings to everyone. We are the group number 12, and in this presentation, we are going to talk about the silent way method. So, here we go. Silent way mainly focuses on discovery, creativity, problem solving, and use of accompanying materials, basically on the cognitive learning process. As characteristics or features, it has learning is facilitated if the learner discovers or creates. It belongs to the tradition of teaching. The teacher and the learner work cooperatively to reach the educational desired goals. And finally, the learner is an active contributor to the learning process. Another characteristic is learning is facilitated by accompanying or mediating physical objects. The teacher must use colorful charts and rods. They are used to introduce vocabulary and syntax such as tenses, comparatives, word order, etc. Finally, the learner is facilitated by problem solving involving the material to be learned. A good silent way learner is a good problem solver. The teacher's role resides only in giving minimum repetitions and corrections. What does it mean? It means that the student by him or herself needs to solve problems, needs to create their own ideas. That the student basically do not depend on the teacher. And the principles. As principles, we have the teaching should be subordinated to learning. In other words, the student needs to acquire the language instead of learning it. Learning is facilitated by problem solving involving the material to be learned, as the characteristic we mentioned before. And the last one, learning is a process which we initiate by ourselves by mobilizing our inner resources. What resources are we talking about? Our perception, awareness, cognition, imagination, intuition, creativity, etc.
What are the goals of teachers who use the silent way? Students should be able to use the language for self-expression. I mean, to express perceptions and feelings. In order to do this, they need to develop independence from the teacher, to develop their own inner criteria for correctness. Students become independent by relying on themselves. The teacher, therefore, should give them only what they absolutely need to promote their learning. Teacher role. The teacher is a technician. Only the learner can do the learning, but the teacher, relying on what his students already know, he can give what help is necessary, focus the students' perceptions, and provide exercise to ensure their facility with the language. The teacher should respect the autonomy of the learners in their attempts at relating and interacting with a new challenge. And student role. Students are expected to develop independence, autonomy, and responsibility. Independent learners are those who are aware that they must depend on their own resources and realize that they can use the knowledge of their own language. The absence of correction and repeated modeling from the teacher requires the students to develop inner criteria and to correct themselves. Learners have only themselves as individuals and the group to rely on, and so must learn to work cooperatively rather than competitively. They need to feel comfortable both correcting one another and being corrected by one other.
Silent way techniques. The technique used in the silent way is the peer correction, where the students help their classmates when they have troubles in grammar, speaking, and other skills that they have to develop. But this must be done in a cooperative way, not in a competitive way, because they are the responsibles of acquiring the knowledge, but themselves. The teacher is the monitor of the process, where he can intervene when something needs help and only when it is really necessary. The teaching materials are really important here. For example, the questionnaire routes that are used in beginners for practice colors and numbers, it could be used in a complex way. For example, to teach prepositions, the teacher can ask the students for identify a route and describe what is it. For example, the green road is between the yellow and black road. All depends on the creativity of the teacher. Other one is the sound color chart. It is used for teach pronunciation. Here, the students can learn phonology of the words and also the stress of each word. It also helps to perceive sounds that the students can't perceive in their first language. And then they can practice and improve these aspects in their skills. The assessment in this method is done by steps. In other words, the teacher assesses the students in each activity or in each stage. So here is not applied a summatory assessment. It also happens because the teacher acts in a passive way. It means that the teacher can't criticize the behavior of the students because they are responsible of acquire the knowledge by themselves. The teacher looks for a steady progress, not the perfection, because the students are the responsible of learn. Thank you.